was stupid, it ain't gonna draw a dime. Not a dime. That was stupid, it ain't gonna draw a dime. Not a dime. Not a dime. Not a dime. Those guys never drew a dime. Not a dime. That was stupid, it ain't gonna draw a dime. Not a dime. That was stupid, it ain't gonna draw a dime. Not a dime. Not a dime. Not a dime. That was stupid, it ain't gonna draw a dime. Not a dime. That was
Never
stupid, it ain't gonna
drew
draw
a dime. We are back.
Not a dime.
Right here on the Biggie TMD, not on Grapple Vision this time. Trying to get some things situated. We'll be back there, but we feel like we've taken too much time off. The Super Bowl hit us right around Royal Rumble. Obviously couldn't do it on those days, so at least we're bringing you something. We are still here having a beer. And right alongside me, high atop, Mountain Drew, the man himself, the man who coined the name of the show, Drew Ortman. What's going on, man? Welcome back. And where can everyone check you out?
Thanks, man. Excited to be back. Check me out at Drew Ortman on Twitter. Also on Twitter at kayfabe today, at PW Journal, at parade_gaming, and also at kayfabetoday.com.
Kayfabe Today does live. It does live in web form currently. Kayfabe Today podcast on a bit of a hiatus, but we are coming back, we promise. But until then, get your fix at Kayfabe Today, the website. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at TMD and all that good shit. Hit that subscribe right down below. Real quick, want to make one big announcement. Big time announcement. If you're not familiar with my good buddy, Matthias Thrasher, the Wild Child, indie wrestler, really good guy. Just had a recent spot with Mick Foley a couple months back. Super nice guy. I finally, Drusif, I found a co-host, a permanent co-host. Because I know you guys, you've been, ever since Slam Pigs is going away, you've been hitting me up in DMs. Shout out to you, Rocky Bio, Rad Zero. You guys been asking me, are you going to have another consistent wrestling show? You're doing shows on Future Wrestling with Logan. Yeah. Doing the stuff on Grapple Vision. But is it coming back? And there's your answer, Hibiki High Spots with Matthias Thrasher. Look for it coming sooner than later. This is our Barry Windham episode. We're doing it, man. Drew's hyped. Drew, this is one of Drew's guys. If you got a list and you pull out your wrestling Bible, this is in there in the book of Drew. Pro wrestling. It's Barry Windham.
Yeah. I have Barry Windham in my hand right now.
You guys are looking at the picture of the action figure, which I agree. Who the fuck is that supposed to be modeled after?
I don't know. And he looked, I remember thinking, yeah, he looked way closer because you can't see by the picture, but in the back he has a really long ponytail. So, yeah, he looks like the Widowmaker. I don't know what's up with that.
Huh?
I've seen one Widowmaker match ever, by the way, I think.
Me too, because I think there was only one match. I think he was advertised as the Widowmaker on like a Survivor Series pay-per-view, and like they just replaced him last minute because he was just
I think he was even on the poster at one point, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think so. But Barry Windham, for newer listeners, or I should say newer watchers to pro wrestling, those the younger may not know Barry Windham or just don't know in general. One of the best workers for his size of all time, in my opinion. And elephant in the room about his Hall of Fame stuff real quick. I kind of think it's a shame he got inducted in a group atmosphere as opposed to just Barry Windham because he's had a good career, a long career. He's done a lot, Drew.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm wondering, this is kind of like you mentioned the Hall of Fame going to the end of his road here, but I think now with some of his family connections going on in WWE currently, that could be something that could push him through as a solo act later on.
Most definitely. Most definitely. As you said off air, how weird is it to name your kid Windham if their uncle's last name was Windham?
He kind of, if anybody was going to be named Wyndham Rotunda, though, he kind of looks like one.
Yeah. He does. He looks like a Bo.
He looks, yeah. I can agree with that.
Like he should have been Bo, I think. And Bo should have been Bray. I don't know.
Bray.
Anyway, Barry Windham, and we got a cheat sheet up because we're not old men. We didn't watch in 1971. Actually, excuse me, 1979 when he made his debut, trained by his father, Blackjack Mulligan. A lot of people kind of know that, I guess. And Harley Race. I didn't know had a hand in training Barry.
Wow.
So there you go.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Starting his career, yes, it was the Florida territory. It's really sad. I knew that offhand, by the way, off air. Yeah, and he won titles here. I'm seeing teaming with his father. This is when he initially formed a team with Mike Rotunda. And then I'm guessing that was the footage right here. I'm seeing it. Vince saw that, swooped him up. 1984, the U.S. Express brought in, using Bruce Springsteen as a theme. You talk about a team, when you talk about tag team wrestling, everyone immediately thinks, Drew, obviously, the golden era, the 80s, the Killer Bees, Heart Foundation, Bulldogs, all that stuff.
Sure.
One of the most glossed over teams, I think. And I don't think they get credit for how popular they were at this time.
Yeah, and I mean, they were somewhat the top team at the time and the most over babyface as a team. I can't honestly remember, but you could check the wiki there, how long their run was when they were there. I just kind of remember the WrestleMania 1 match, and that's kind of where it stopped for me, at least early on.
Funny enough, they beat a team I feel also gets glossed over a lot. For their first tag team championship, it was Dick Murdoch and Adrian Adonis.
Really?
Which, yeah, I actually have seen a good bunch of stuff as them as a team. I'm sure you have too. And yeah, I would say that
Yeah.
they get glossed over too criminally. They were good
I
together.
bet that was great.
Because they had that north-south chemistry thing going on where it complemented each other.
Absolutely. And then going against Windham and Rotunda, that had to be a barn burner, quote unquote.
Yeah. That word, where does that word stem from? Like, where's the origin
A
of,
barn burner?
are we talking about like refugees burning farm? Like, what are we talking about when we say, I don't know.
I was going to try to make a story up. I had nothing.
I'm over
I
here
got nothing.
storming villages and yeah. But anyway, that was in January 1985, actually, at a house show where they beat Adonis and Murdoch. And then they actually lost the titles at WrestleMania.
At WrestleMania.
But they did beat him
And
again. I do remember that. They beat him again, and then they dropped the belts finally before they left to the Dream Team. Greg Valentine, Brutus Beefcake.
yes. Yes, I love the Dream Team. No, not to go off on a tangent too much, but I thought they were awesome.
Here's something, Drew, right here in my notes that I guessed off air earlier, and I was actually right about. He was in the AWA for a cup of coffee. As soon as they left the WWF, the US Express wrestled at Wrestle Rock 86.
Wrestle Rock.
My God. They wrestled the Fabulous
Wow.
Ones.
The
Beat the
Fabulous
Fabulous Ones.
Wow. Now were they as the U.S. Express there?
Yeah, but this was a one-off apparently. And then Wyndham then, as a solo, went to back to the NWA as a babyface. Battle of the Belts 2, notably at this time, against Ric Flair for the title. Feuded over with Ron Bass, also in AWA at this time.
I watched that for the first time not long ago. That was pretty cool.
Battle of the Belts.
Yeah.
I think I've seen the third one because they're all on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I acquired them from a very legit legal place.
This run right here, NWA till about 88, 89, when he went to WWF, was the quintessential Barry. This is his prime of his career right here.
Yeah, and some were saying, I mean, back then you'll hear it over and over on different podcasts and Meltzer and anybody, is that he was one of the best in the business at that time.
Most definitely. He had the look, he had the work rate, his height was really good. He was definitely
Actually,
a guy that obviously Vince signed him.
Yeah. I heard something today, I think it was on Tony Schiavone's podcast maybe, and they were talking about back when it probably should have been Barry and not Ron Garvin who beat Flair for the title.
I mean, I cannot argue that at all.
Yeah.
Because how did that work out? You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Ronnie Garvin, though, this was at the time when he first made the full transition to the Crockett section of NWA. He was in a tag team with Ronnie Garvin. Had a run with the Russians, Crusher Khrushchev, and Ivan Koloff, and also the Midnight Express. Other than that, it was just, kind of blandish, Barry Windham. I don't think he really found himself till he was that enforcer in the Horsemen, though. Like, the team with Luger was a really great babyface team. Let's go there. The team with Lex Luger.
Yeah, I like them both. And like I think I've said this on one of our other shows. I'm a Luger mark. I always liked him, so I thought that was awesome to go back and watch those matches.
I've seen some bad Lex matches. I don't think I've ever really seen a flat out dog shit Lex match until he was past his prime. I feel like this era of Lex, I think he gets too much flack for. I think he's way better than people say.
Sure. Yeah, and he had that kind of, I don't know, his shitty kind of asshole, even when he's a babyface personality and the look and everything. His matches could be a little off, and I'm still like, it's cool.
In the new WWE 2K18 game, they literally took this era of Lex when he was a heel and put him in there and like that strut and everything that he did. That
Really?
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
But obviously, this would lead to the breakup with you know, the turn. I thought it
that
was one of
a
the best things
fantastic turn.
NWA ever did. It generated some of the most heat from the fans. People were pissed.
Yeah, that's one of those ones I can go back and watch now, and one of those few things that it still gives me like goosebumps when I watch it.
That Magnum TA Tully Blanchard, that was a tremendous feud.
Yeah.
Certain ones from this time.
I love going back and seeing that one. That was one of the first things I saw out of like when I finally started getting tapes of this era, those feuds.
But yeah, Lex turns his back on Barry, and the people lose their minds. Lex Luger joining the Four Horsemen, which, gotta say it, man, I preferred Barry in this role to Luger. I know
Yeah.
we're fans of Luger, we defend Lex, but I think Barry was just better fit.
They were probably my two favorites in that role overall, but yeah, Barry definitely was, and I think Flair even said that before. Barry was the best version of the Horseman.
And I thought J.J. Dillon complimented Barry perfectly. I thought just like he did Tully. I thought it made sense.
Absolutely.
J.J.
And that,
Dillon, even when in the storyline when he was managing Lex Luger. Even in the storyline where like everything was cool, you could always tell like kayfabe break. Like you could just look at J.J. and like being aggravated with how green this guy is, and because when you're used to work, you know, managing guys like Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, you're just standing there basically because those guys are fucking great at what they do. You don't got to do a lot
exactly.
besides yell at the crowd. You got to coach Lex Luger if you're J.J. Dillon, pretty much.
Absolutely. And I thought during this time too, they had the point where Flair was the champion. You had Tully and Arn as the tag, and then Barry as the U.S. And just seeing all those guys with all that gold, I was like, that's the best right there.
That was the first time you ever really saw that. You would see it in one-offs, right? When a promotion would try to fill up seats or something, or like an 8-man
Sure.
tag, but like consistently, a group like that with all the gold, you never saw that.
So awesome. So awesome.
And that's why you remember it.
Mm-hmm. And that's I think that's why they were my favorite Horsemen.
Just more lackluster. I don't feel like there was a payoff to this though. Barry kind of went off into different angles, but they did do like co-branded when they merged with UWF. I remember Barry Windham going against Steve Williams, Dr. Death for the UWF title, and not winning.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's at Starrcade '87, I think.
Wow,
There it
that's
is.
awesome.
I thought it was '88. It was '87.
I don't remember seeing that. I'll have to go back.
It just ended in a schmoz, really. And I get it. You're bringing in a top guy for another promotion. You just bought that company. You don't want to make him look weak off the bat, but you don't want to hurt Barry at the same time, I guess.
Sure.
Classic
I agree.
example of that. But then, finally, Barry would make his way to the Four Horsemen, like we talked about, one glove and all. The total package with J.J. Dillon. His contract expires, it says here. And it doesn't seem like there were any disputes. It just looked like he had maybe had an offer waiting, and it looks like he did the right thing. He just, worked his dates, and just, when his contract ran out, what's he supposed to do? He's supposed to feed his family, and he took a better offer.
Sure.
He did it responsibly, I feel like. And unfortunately, all that responsibility made him a widowmaker. Fucking
Widowmaker.
Get right in it, Drew. I had a
remember
Topps trading card, by the way, as a kid of the Widowmaker. I would always get the Widowmaker in all the packs my parents would get me. Like, you'd always have repeats. There'd be like 2 Widowmakers. And I never knew who the fuck he was.
I'm not even kidding. I was about to say the exact same thing. That I had the Topps trading card of the Widowmaker, and I always had that one. I didn't know who he was. And when I was a real little kid, and I had that, being a stupid little kid, I was thinking to myself, why would anybody be scared of a guy who makes windows?
Oh my! Stop doing it! Stop the parallels, because I was like, window maker. He builds windows.
Who's scared of a window maker?
Because I was 5. Drew was like 5 or 6 too. It's like, what the fuck's a widow maker? Come on.
Yeah, didn't get it.
And I didn't even, honestly, at 5, I had no clue who Barry Windham was. I was literally just jumping in.
Yeah, and like I said, I saw that Topps trading card, but that's about as far as it went. I never saw him on TV or anything.
He didn't really change much about his gimmick though. He was still Barry Windham. I feel like
He looked huge there, though.
he did.
Like,
He
he
looked
was big
lanky.
in the NWA, but for some reason, he just looked enormous up there.
Shout out to Jim from Drink Beer Play Game hopping on my Jeff Jarrett episode the other night using lanky. I want to use that word more.
Yes. That was a good show.
Thank you. It's a good word. I feel like I didn't know this whole run, by the way. I guess if you're just wrestling jobbers, I forgot it was that era. He went undefeated. It says here for 5 months. He was
Huh.
supposed to be on that Randy Savage team we were talking about at Survivor Series, where it was like,
Savage.
yeah,
That was
he was
good.
going against Duggan's team, and he had the Canadian Earthquake.
Is that the one where, is that the year Duggan's team, did it have Bret Hart on it by himself?
Yes, and fucking
Yeah.
Rugged Ronnie Garvin, and they used the boards as guns in the promo.
Yeah, that's right. Ugh.
Well, that's probably why Wyndham left. He saw that coming. He's like, nope, I'm not using it as a gun. I'm going to leave. He went back to WCW, rejoined the Horsemen right here in 90, which consisted of Sid Vicious this time. So now you got two shit kickers. I didn't like this. I didn't like Sid and the Horsemen ever.
Mm-mm. No, I mean, I kind of understand why they did it, but it just didn't fit. Especially when Barry came back, because having two big guys didn't really work.
I'm seeing here a famous vignette was shot in an Atlanta ghetto before a series of matchups between my dog's going crazy upstairs, sorry guys, between Barry Windham and Arn Anderson and the tag team of Doom. I did not know. Did they have a ghetto street fight?
Wow, I've never heard of that one.
Other than fighting in the ghetto and the War Games from '91, where Sid almost killed Brian Pillman, Barry really didn't do much, I would say, to this time, until I would think the most noteworthy thing, not even intended for him, Flair left the company. Great American Bash '91. It was supposed to be Luger and Ric Flair for the title, Drew, and not on this day.
And see, this is right around this time is when I started watching wrestling as a kid. Like that was the new stuff to me. And so that era, it has a special place in my heart. And yeah, that was kind of a crazy time, like not really understanding what was happening with shit like that.
On a card that opened with PN News on a scaffold, Barry Windham, the replacement for Lex Luger. And you guys have seen it if you've gone and you checked out any history on this pay-per-view. The fans shit all over it. They chanted, "We want Flair" during it. For all the credit we're giving Barry here, he was never on the level of Flair. I'm going to say it.
Nope.
You could not fill that slot with the Barry Windham. I'm sorry. He didn't get it. Like, he didn't. Barry Windham, I don't feel like ever put asses in the seats with his promos more than he did with his looks and just what he did in the ring.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this was a case of they went with the best they could without, making Sting go down. So.
Jim Herd really wanted to protect Sting, which is fine. I mean, that's one thing Jim Herd did right. I feel like is putting it on Sting and Great American Bash, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Drew, what would you say, in your opinion, is the most forgettable time in Barry Windham's entire career?
You mean even including WWE?
All of it.
Oh, well, my first thought was to go with the Stalker, but honestly, that's not that forgettable. It's very memorable just for how terrible it was.
Yeah, unfortunately, that one sticks out for Barry.
Yeah. I honestly really liked a little bit the tag team run he had there with Dustin Rhodes, where they were battling with Gordy and Steve Williams.
Right.
That was cool.
When Bill Watts was running the ship.
Yep. Yeah. Big, good time for tag teams in WCW at that moment.
We'll get to it later, but I still feel like it's the West Texas Rednecks because he was never the focal point of that. You always kind of did.
Yeah.
There.
He was really in the background of that. That's true.
He was the drummer, right? In the music.
Yeah.
He could fucking play some drums.
The
best part about that was him trying to figure out what a hi-hat does. So he's just looks like a 5-year-old hitting pots and pans in the kitchen while their mom cooks a meal.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man!
Here's one. You know what? I really liked the new Blackjacks, but I was kind of pissed when they just gave up on it so quick. but I don't know.
I thought
It
it
was kind
might
of a
have had
shitty
legs at the
tag.
time, but
Yeah,
eh.
it came off too cartoony with everybody they were wrestling.
I feel like if that would have hit 5 years sooner, it would have got over more, way more.
Yeah, if they were more like shit kickers that people were scared of and they beat the fuck out of people,
Like,
it'd be
yeah,
better.
when
But
you could do that, and you didn't need like you could have ridiculous guys that could be taken, like the Natural Disasters comes to mind. You have those
yeah,
guys 5 years before in '92, they could have been tremendous champions. I feel like.
yeah, act like Stan Hansen, you know.
And it was also 5 years earlier. It was closer to when the actual Blackjacks actually competed, as opposed to 5 more fucking years. And this is a whole new era now. You're talking about the Attitude Era. And now these fans, and I'll come clean. And I was like 12 or 13 when they first came out, the new Blackjacks, and I wasn't really familiar with the originals. Like, okay, they're really old.
I I have those action figures actually.
Unfortunately, if you go back and look at and that's awesome. Holy shit. I need a picture of that to put up right now for the
The
episode.
Blackjacks, okay.
Drew and I played action figure tag off air.
I can't. I see one of them. I can grab one of them without pulling my headphones out, so we'll go with that first. We'll see if it's Wyndham. I don't think it matters. I can't tell.
Drew, in January 1993, Barry Windham finally did reach, technically, the mountaintop. He beat the Great Muta for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. We may both have to correct ourselves for most forgettable Barry moment, because you got me. That was at Super Brawl 3. I don't even remember that.
The only reason I remember that right now is because Tony Schiavone's podcast this week was them watching Super Brawl 3, and they were talking about that match and how it was good, but it kind of was long and dragged on a little bit too.
He dropped the belt at Beach Blast 93 to Ric Flair.
I kind of remember that. I remember the belt. It was, again, at the time while watching that, it was so confusing when they had both belts.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
then
it
you
was
had
one.
guys like fucking Masahiro Chono and Rick Rude. I'm like, what world title? And then like the King of Cable and all this weird shit.
The King of Cable. Yeah. The Battle Bowl ring.
I feel like that was a really dumb decision, especially back then. You're obviously the number 2 promotion, and you're confusing your fans on top of it is not a good look at that time.
Yeah.
I don't think that did
Exactly.
them any favors having the NWA title around and the WCW title around, because then you're just the fans, the casuals at least, are gonna be like, well, which one's the most important one, basically.
I almost feel like it's still purely because they just wanted that big belt on TV, and for some reason they couldn't figure out the fact that they could just make it the world title and call it a day.
Well, Bischoff, pretty much, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when it takes Eric Bischoff. Ugh.
There's a blackjack in the Twitter.
He did. I do remember him taking on Ric Flair at Jesus Christ, at Slamboree 1994 for the WCW championship and losing.
Yeah, I had that cassette tape, so I watched the shit out of that one.
And Stud Stable, another stable I forgot about he was in here. And then he left. It says early retirement until let's go into the woods. Let's pretend we're Rambo. It's time to stalk some motherfuckers. It's the Stalker, 1996, pal. I need a new gimmick on my roster. You ever see Rambo? That guy's fucking awesome. What's Barry Windham doing? Pretty much.
Did you notice how quick he gave up on it? Where it's like when he first came out, he had the paint, and then after that, he just gave up on the paint, and then he didn't even really wear he just wore a WWF shirt and like. It was.
He had no feud at all. Just a few superstars appearances. A one-off at Survivor Series 96, which I remember like the back of my hand, The Rock's debut. And a mini feud with Goldust. And then New Blackjack's time. Any last parting words on the Stalker? It was awful. It was fucking wrong era again. Wrong era again, I think, Drew.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any error for that one because I think everybody also knew you were putting some bullshit like this for a new guy on Barry Windham.
Since I'm a patsy most times, I try to find the best in everything. I could see this being the top heel against Sergeant Slaughter and Vern Gagne's AWA. And like the vignettes where he's training Gagne, that's the only fucking kind of angle that this hokey shit would have fit in, I feel like. And I'm not saying it would have been good.
Exactly. Madness.
The new Blackjacks, though, forming a team with Justin Hawk Bradshaw, of course, JBL. I thought
Yeah.
JBL looked great as a Blackjack. He
Yeah, and
looked
the
like
names
Stan
were
Hansen's
good.
fucking son.
Yeah, absolutely. And the names were good. The look was good. It was just the wrong time to have a tag team. I mean, because they were fighting body donnas and pig farmers, and it just didn't work.
It was rough, man. Go back to WrestleMania 13, guys, and watch the opening match. It was a four-way tag
Oh
match. The
yeah,
state of the tag team division in early '97.
sad.
Anyway, this didn't last very long, and into even worse angle while I was in WWF to Jim Cornette's NWA invasion, where he just wore
Oh
his
fuck.
'87 Barry chaps. He dusted them off and
Oh,
pulled them out in a headband.
I forgot about that. Wasn't
Nobody
he the
cared.
like champion for a minute? The NWA champion, maybe, or
Um,
whatever,
it's
whatever
saying
bullshit they were
here,
faking.
what happened? It's saying no because Jeff Jarrett was. It says.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
He had a
yeah.
match with Bradshaw on Raw, and then he left for WCW again. Here's another fun fact. Because I just thought he went to WCW and it was, oh, what? West Texas Rednecks. No. In the angle where Kurt Hennig turned on Ric Flair, right? And joined the NWO, won the tag team titles with Kurt Hennig. Defeated Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko in the finals of a tournament to win the vacant WCW World Tag Team Championships at Super Brawl 9. I'm learning so much on
What?
this Barry Windham episode tonight. I really am.
All right, I need to look this up at least for an image of this shit. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Super Brawl 9?
Super Brawl 9.
Huh.
Unbelievable. Well, yeah, it's saying here, my report. He re-injured his knee, though, right in this run. And so apparently they had to vacate it again. Not
Yep.
returning, Drew, until mid-99. Then, rap is crap time. Then the Texas Rednecks feuding with Master P's No Limit Soldiers. Holy shit!
Oh
WCW this
man.
time. Shame on you. Good God.
Good God.
Good
Yeah,
God.
that I looking back on it, I think it's really funny and really awesome and watching clips of it, but I remember then watching this just thinking, what is this? WCW was such a madhouse at that point. I didn't know what to think of anything, I don't think.
And I've been saying like the West Texas Rednecks shit has been really good, like all episode. It's so bad it's good, guys. None of this was actually good, by the way. It's just
Yeah,
the
so
song.
it's a memorable
Yeah.
good.
Virgil was brought in as Curly Bill. That sums it up.
That's so awesome too when I think about that. Oh, oh, there's that trading card. Man, he was one of the best wrestlers, in my opinion, of all time that also had a large number of really dumb gimmicks.
And also, like, this is also the end of the road on our little Barry crusade here. What a weird way to end his career, pretty much. It says here, like, he went off and did some indie stuff until he, like, did the Hall of Fame stuff. As a drummer.
Yeah. I can't believe that was his last like real thing.
The Ringo gimmick, man. He just went out and, God.
I think he had kind of even I mean he was getting a little older, but physically you could tell he had just kind of given up at that point. Like I'm done. I'm not working out anymore. We're just going to call it a day.
He was one of those guys that are few and far between that know when to wind it down before they tarnish their legacy. So you don't remember them for, like, the Flair saggy tits and TNA matches or shit like that.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess here's a top of the show question for you then. When somebody says Barry Windham, what pops in your mind?
Horseman Enforcer.
Yeah, me too.
One glove. One glove.
Yep. U.S. title.
U.S. to J.J. Dillon.
Yep.
But then, gotta admit, man, the face paint goes on Barry. Not too much longer. Like, then I start thinking about the Stalker not too long after. At a close second. And which sucks for Barry.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what happens when you take the quick cash.
I used to think too, because one of the things I knew him for early on and seeing pictures in the magazines of it, and I thought it was kind of creepy. Remember when he dressed as Sting at Halloween Havoc?
Yes, Sid Vicious match?
Yeah.
And the ropes
Yeah.
were like orange and black. I actually really liked
Yeah.
that because it was different. But
Yeah.
yeah, he looked just like Sting.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I remember that. That was when I think that's when he returned. was that night.
just a little bit taller, actually. That was actually his return. Very good, Drew. Because that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, I remember him for that pretty well.
Obviously, though, you see his legacy living on, Drew. We didn't even talk about Kendall. Kendall was
He was there. I'm glad they there at the end he got him in there and got him in at least a prominent role for a little bit. That was cool.
He was also in the Rednecks playing guitar, I think.
Guitar.
Yeah, man. His legacy goes on obviously with Bray Wyatt, Bo Dallas, his Mike Rotunda, peel back the curtain. Everybody knows anyway. They're actually brother-in-laws in real life. Mika Rotunda, the sister, and it's awesome. That is a big lineage too, going back to Blackjack Mulligan and all that. Blackjack, obviously a legend, obviously worth his own Hibiki honors or whatever. One day, he was just a crazy guy and such an intimidating guy.
Yeah, and being that's becoming one of those families. That's one of those main wrestling families people will be talking about for years.
Indeed. I hope you and I keep talking for years about old, nerdy wrestling shit. Drew Ortman, one more time. Where can everyone catch you?
I love it. I'll talk about nerdy wrestling shit for the rest of my life. Let's just keep it rolling. At Drew Ortman on Twitter, at Kayfabe Today, at PW Journal, at Parade_Gaming, KayfabeToday.com.
And next time we do this, we're diving back in world-class championship wrestling. We haven't given up. We just... life, man. Real life calls sometimes. But get prepared. Bugsy McGraw's coming full force. Kevin Von Erich on commentary. I can't wait to talk about Blackjack and all that shit. Until next time, you can follow me on Twitter at TheVickyTMD. Hit that subscribe right down below. Catch us, Kayfabe Today podcast, first thing in the morning. Hit subscribe over there. Catch our buddy on Twitch, Late Night with Broski, actually about to air right now while we're recording this. Get over there. Help a pally out. Good stuff. Also, Future Wrestling Podcast. Catch me on Next Level. Brand new NXT weekly recap show. Love talking NXT. For myself. For myself, the man of a million voices, high atop Mountain Drew. Actually, just Howard Finkel, but it's really fucking good. Drew, thank you, my man, for joining me.
Thanks, man. I love it.
Until next time, never drew a dime. See you then.